Can you hear? Can you hear, Sally? Okay, approval for the minutes, please. Councilor Peterson.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the minutes from the October 13th, 2020 regular meeting of the council as presented.
You have a seconder? Councilor Philipchuk. Is there any questions? Comments? All in favor? Okay, we're moving into a public hearing, so we recess this regular meeting of council. The public hearing is to hear comments on the proposed bylaw 2020-11 Road Closure Bylaw. This bylaw closes the municipal alleyway described as the portion of the alley directly west of 6th Peter Street. Is there anyone here to make comments on this closure?
I don't understand why.
So, Chris, each?
Yes.
Chris, do you want to speak to it, or you just want to hear the explanation of why they're closing it?
We moved here 8 years ago, and in that time, I've done a lot of walking. In those 8 years, I've never seen a vehicle on that road. Hardly ever. I don't know what the reasoning is.
Okay, Brad, do you want to speak to this?
Good evening, Mayor Spence. I didn't exactly hear the comment. If someone just wanted to repeat it.
Okay, Mr. Beach, was alley lived right beside the alley on First Avenue, and he doesn't understand why the alley is being closed. He feels that it's not used a whole lot, and so he just wants an explanation of why we would want to close the alley.
So over the years, we've had a lot of concerns raised by both residents backing that alley and some of the businesses, just in concerns to the amount of traffic that uses the alley and the speed at which some of those vehicles use it. So when we did some looking into traffic counts and other options to help reduce some of those concerns, what we had come up with in relation with Public Works and some discussion with the neighborhood was that by closing off the one side of the alley on Peter Street, this would reduce the number of vehicles both using the alley, but as well, hopefully with the intent to reduce some of the speeds, just because basically we're creating an inconvenience, I guess. Right now, a lot of people are using that cut through as a shortcut to Central Street. By closing off that portion of the alley, we feel that it'll reduce that number of people using that as a shortcut quite drastically, just since it will be much more inconvenient for them to do so. We also feel that it'll have some effect on traffic counts on the east side of the alley, closer to First Avenue, just because not so many people will be going through the alley, as there will be nowhere to go unless you back that alley. So by closing that one section of the alley, we feel that it'll reduce the amount of traffic and also help potentially reduce the speeds through that alley.
I don't believe a word of it. Sorry.
Chris,
I live there. I'm in that alley a lot. There's no traffic there. So say whatever you want or whatever.
so, and I guess my question to you, Brad, is it would be closed to any moving vehicle, but it would be open for people to walk or to use it for bikes or anything like that. So is that right?
Correct. So the plan is that the city will retain ownership over the alley. We will not be closing it off to bicycle or pedestrian traffic. We would just be using some sort of barricade, either concrete, stone, or other, to block off enough space so that vehicles cannot use that alley any longer. But pedestrian and bicycle traffic would still have a through there.
Is there any other comments, Chris or Alice?
No, that's.
Yes, I would like to comment on that. My comment is that when the truck goes by to truck that's going to the house to the doctor's office or whatever. When they get way up there, they have to go through the private property of the house to get back out on Central to go around, or and if they found a shortcut, they certainly would be taking it. If we go straight through, we've got to turn around and come back down in our area, like garbage trucks, so etc. It puts more traffic going by my kitchen window. I do have a medical problem of exhaust and diesel fumes coming in my kitchen window, so I wouldn't be able to open that again. I just wondered what the medical association would feel about that. I might look like I don't have a problem, but I really do. So that was my comment.
So Ally, if they close the alley, no vehicles will be able to go down the alley. So I guess
Well, they won't close our area. It's still
farther down.
So
way down, yeah.
used to be able to go in, but I never drew. You can't. Very few people.
And so you think that there's going to be more using your little.
More like box trucks and that kind of thing coming.
So just
Brad?
just in relation to the garbage and recycling trucks, they do currently enter the alley on the First Avenue side of the street. They still will enter there, but they don't pick up any garbage besides the commercial. So for until the second phase of the commercial development's built out, they will actually be going out through Central Street. Once the second phase of commercial is built out, there's always planned to be basically a municipal buffer strip, but also an access similar to the one that's on the other side of phase one of the commercial, where the garbage truck will be able to use that to get around to the parking lot or Central Street and exit without having to do a U-Ball or back out of the alley back onto First. So it shouldn't create any additional trips back and forth through First Avenue intersection.
So would that be all up further than the cemetery? Would they go up further and turn and come back? Or what?
Just beside the cemetery.
Decide?
Just beside, that's still, because that's all the way up the wall. Here. Right there.
But they can get out from that end.
Well, and again, it's just that one piece between the cemetery and that last about 633 Peters. That's the alley that they're saying. So there should actually be even less traffic because there's less reason to use it. So we want more people to use Peters, First, and Central. So right now it's convenient because I live right behind them. So it is a shortcut for me, but I also see that there's vehicles that will go a long way. So it should be safer when you're walking your dog because there's less traffic around. There'd be no surprise traffic coming through there. When you come around the corner, there won't be somebody coming through either way. So in some ways, it should be beneficial for both. And I think it's something that we can review after a year because we're not selling the land either. So it's something that, so it could be something if it doesn't work, then let's take another look.
Anything else to add from anybody?
Just to Councillor Philipchuk's point, administration will plan over the next year, obviously, to tabulate and keep any correspondence that we receive in regards to the closure, and bring a sort of an update kind of in a year back to council in terms of if we feel it's achieved what we initially intended it to.
Okay, thank you, Brad. Okay, if there's no additional comments, we reconvene the meeting. And we'll move down to our administration report, starting with planning and development.
Thank you, Mayor Spence. Just
Just a minute, Brad. Do we have someone else speaking to the lane closure? Okay. If you could just say your name.
Hi, my name is George Roberts, and I'm the owner of I was just on YouTube there, listening to it. And, on our position, no one read my traffic to try to fire. They have a maximum of 30 per day driving past our house. And people don't slow down to come off the whiskey at this day. We have watched at least this summer alone with COVID being home a little more. We watched near miss accident at least a handful of times. And it's a blind corner. One is straight through and one is close to the end of the day. It was the turn. And we've seen pedestrians here hit. We've got families scared to walk down that alley. Myself, we have our garden on that side of the house. And we've got kind of rate of speed. People get too fast. We fear for our family. We got our fence hit twice. This has cost out of our pocket fence twice. And then our front has been damaged by big floods. That's more money coming out of our pocket. Considering this is supposed to be an alley, and everybody, if you just go there, spend an hour, 20% of traffic is straight through. You have to Glennis house and then on Central to Martinsville or wherever stuff they're going. So, that's our proposal. Is it's dangerous for neighbors, dangerous for the neighborhood, people walking, going to the co-op, the pharmacy, or the dentist house, or the doctor's office. Many occasions in the wintertime to plow that, people come with that great rate of speed that I have personally myself pulled out at least 15 cars out of that ditch. People come too fast, hit that fence and hit the snow. So it proves that the speed is fairly excessive on that NQA. So that was our proposal. That's why we brought up the proposal. It's just and we never honestly thought the traffic was that much also. But we put cameras on our house. I turned one to face the alley and we counted cars for 2 months. But this isn't a week of, we had a busy week because somebody was going. This is a month and months and months of 100+ cars a day past our house. We can't enjoy our house. Can't open kitchen windows. The dust is insane. The city has worked with us, which is nice. They put down some kind of oil, which is reduced, but that's where it's out. Can't enjoy our gas. And none of that because the traffic is so intense. But that was just my opinion.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so Brad, we're moving into your report now.
thank you, Mayor Spence. Just the one item for discussion tonight related to the alley closure. As discussed, this received first reading at the last council meeting. I think we've, through the public hearing, discussed a lot of the specifics related to it. I have attached some additional correspondence related to the item that we've received since first reading. All of it fairly positive in terms of endorsing the closure. We did advertise for 2 weeks in the local paper and sent notice to everyone living on that alley, and the correspondence attached to this, as well as the additional comments received at the public hearing, is everything that we did get to date. So we are still recommending that we follow through with second and third reading, again on the notion that we will keep track of this over the next year and bring back kind of an update report with any additional correspondence we receive to council in a year.
Okay, with that, I see that we have motion for second reading. Someone prepared to make that motion. Councilor Beck?
I'd like to make the motion for the second reading of bylaw 2020-11.
All right, you have a seconder for that. Councilor Philipchuk, is there any comments, questions? Councilor Beck?
With the chair, I just want to confirm, Brad, so this year, like your recommendation is to close that alley, but not to stop. retaining the ownership, and that is the plan here for.
Correct, yes. The intent is that the city will retain ownership of it. We will block it off probably in the interim with some sort of barricade, potentially moving to a gate in the future. Will allow bicycle and pedestrian traffic, but not vehicular traffic through that portion.
Councillor Peterson?
So are we gonna put barricades at both ends of 633, like right by the cemetery and right at the street, or just at one end?
Both ends.
Councillor Philipchuk?
And I had that written down beforehand about, so do we have to do anything different to make sure that it is reviewed in a year from now? Or that is just in the statement of facts here today?
It's currently not in the motion, but we'll do it. I guess if you want something on paper, then there could be an amendment to the motion, but we're at second reading now. So definitely, I already had put it in my calendar actually as of last week to kind of the date where we'll pass it, just to make sure that I have something in there to bring something back to council. But you know, an additional motion could potentially be passed just to say that council or administration reviewed and bring back a report in a year.
I'm fine with that, just because it's in a public meeting, we're good to go with that, but I just want to make sure it's in the minutes with discussion.
Okay, anything else? Okay, all in favor? A motion for third reading? Councillor Healy?
I'll make motion of bylaw 2011, Road Closure Bylaw. This bylaw closes the municipal alleyway described as a portion of the alley directly west of 633 Peter Street. Be read as third and final time. And bylaw 2020-11 now be adopted, signed by the mayor and people.
Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Jones? Is there any further questions? Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Did we want to make an additional motion about being reviewed in a year, or are we good to the public?
Like honestly, having that motion actually, they're in the minutes. Satisfy the work that administration is put into this. I would like to make a motion to review bylaw 2020-11, the Road Closure Bylaw, 1 year from today's date, or thereabouts, or review by council.
Okay, seconder for that? Councillor Healy, is there further discussion? All in favor? Okay, thank you. Okay, moving down to city clerk's report.
So tonight, we're doing a bit of housekeeping, and that's where the public notice bylaw is coming up. It's kind of sat on the side of the desk for a little while, so we thought we should bring it up. It's basically the updates are to allow us to advertise on the website. It was a town of Tisdale bylaw, so now it's a city of Warman bylaw. It also will give us the ability to do public notices on social media and other means that the city does have. In time, this is why it got set on the side of the desk, is this city's act has changed a bit, where if you have no local newspaper, you no longer have to advertise in the newspaper if it's not feasible for you. So that is another part of the change that's in there as well, is if that ever does happen, we have other means to advertise already in place. My recommendation was to do all 3 readings of bylaw 2020-12, the public notice bylaw.
Okay, so we have this motion in front of us. Prepared? Councillor Jones?
Make a motion, first reading bylaw 2020-12 of bylaw, the city of Warman to establish public notice policy bylaw. Bylaw update, this is public notice, provided changes in the city act.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Philipchuk? Is there any comments or questions? All in favor? Is Kendall back on?
Yeah,
Yep,
yes,
it's up
you
there.
guys hand up there.
Kendall, are you in favor?
Yeah. He's been-
Yeah, I've been waving my hand.
Okay, you're at my back. Okay, good, thank you. Motion for second reading, Councillor Peterson.
I'd like to make a motion that bylaw 2020-12 be read a second time.
Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Philipchuk. Is there any comments? Okay, we all in favor? Okay. Motion to have all 3 readings this meeting. Councillor Teely,
I will make a motion that all 3 readings of bylaw 2020-12 be done at this regular meeting.
a seconder. Councillor Jones, all in favor? Okay. And let's see, where are we?
Third reading.
Oh, third. Okay, final motion. Councillor Philipchuk,
I'll make a motion for bylaw 2020-12, a bylaw of the city of Warman to establish a public notice policy bylaw. This bylaw updates the existing public notice to align with changes in the Cities Act to be read for a third and final time, and now be adopted, signed, and sealed by the mayor and city clerk.
do we have a seconder? Councillor Peterson, is there any further questions? Okay, all in favor? Okay,
My next item is to request a special meeting of council be called for Monday, November 16th at 6:30 p.m. to accommodate the swearing in of the upcoming City of Warman Council.
motion please. Councillor Beck,
Yes, I'd like to make the motion to hold a special meeting for council for Monday, November 16th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. to accommodate the swearing in ceremony for the upcoming city.
seconder. Councillor Jones, is there any questions about this?
No real questions, but obviously this year the council, certainly have to be sworn in prior to making the decision. So it's definitely necessary.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you.
All right, and then I just have a couple information pieces here. One, we did get our youth council representative. His name is Julian Bowden. He accepted the position on October 14th, 2020, where he met with myself, Mayor Spence, and City Manager Smith. We kind of when we ran over what he's going to be doing, and he was excited to take on the position. Due to COVID-19 and also with the civic election in there, we decided we'll wait until December, our first meeting in December, for him to come and join council table. So, and the other one is election 2020 update. Is full gear now with the signs all over town. We do have mail-in ballots are actually at about 115 as of today, which is great. We will be holding 2 special polls, one at the Diamond Care Home and one at the Mennonite Special Care Home. I kind of waited a little bit longer to see if due to COVID we'd be able to come in or out, but we have a very skeleton election staff that'll be running those polls, and we'll be covered in PPE from head to toe, whatever is required to go in and run the polls for the seniors. So we'll be doing that on October 29th. Yeah, and I never thought in a million years I'd be excited about sneeze guards, but we got some pretty awesome ones from the first year school division. So very excited about that. And that's about it for that. And then I guess just a huge thank you to everybody at the table. The last 2 years has been fantastic. It's been a huge learning curve for me. This is a completely new position in my life. So I just want to say thank you, and it's been great.
Oh, thank you. Are there any questions about the item? Councillor Beck?
So just a question about what the elections take place on in their home.
Mhm.
Is that open to the public to come into those?
No.
Those facilities, or that's just for the
That's
residents?
just for the residents and staff that are working. I've told them if there's any staff that would like to attend
Okay, so it's staff
of the care home who are local residents, of course, but if they can vote here in Warman, we figured we'd give them that option to just vote right there at work while they were there. Anyway. Yeah, and I do believe that when I talked to the Diamond Care Home, they are under lockdown again, so they aren't allowing public in there. Because we're election officials, we kind of get to come over that. But yeah.
How do we determine if those care of the special care of the other facilities should be considered as urgent?
We were kind of going by the number of residents that they had. So we're kind of looking anywhere around 50 and plus if it would be beneficial for us to come in and do a poll right in there. That was kind of my little line that I drew there. there was no real amount to it. Probably should have looked at the other ones as well, but
Yeah.
yeah, 'cause there is a couple other ones in town. Yeah, they just seem to have a significant amount of people in them, so figured it's safer for them to stay home, and if we could come to them, then we would do that.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving down to recreation.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Have a report in front of you and bring one item, right? To council table. I'm looking for a resolution to move forward with the project for the Canada COVID Resilience Fund. I think in discussions with other city administrators, we felt that we were in a position where we were somewhat like we were in 2009, where we were putting all of our eggs in one basket, which is the expansion of the Legend Center. And so we wanted to make sure that we made that aware to council that we're ready to go with the application process for the Legend, but we also felt that if we didn't want to put all of our eggs in one basket, that there are a couple other projects that out there that would be suitable for. So we got two coming out of the recreation department. One is the Legend Center Arena expansion. And the other is a park pathway improvement project. And then one coming out of the Public Works Department, and that is the lift station project. So we listed off some of the pros, some of the information doing work with the with each of the three projects. The cycle within the park pathway improvement is approximately $300,000. Just bring you aware of that. And then we did include just a little chart that's kind of give you an idea of where we sit with three being good and one being the least, that it comes out and we still are in favor of the arena expansion moving forward as probably one of the greatest things in our community.
Okay, you want to move ahead with your motion?
Sure.
Okay, we have a motion in front of us. Who wants to put, who's ready for that one? Councilor Philchuk?
I'll make a motion to authorize administration to apply for funding through the COVID-19 Resilience Infrastructure Stream for the Legend Center Arena Expansion Project in the amount of $7,840,100.
We have a seconder, Councilor Peterson. Do we have any questions? No, no questions? Oh, sorry, Councilor Beck.
And obviously this year like does fall within where whether we want to go with this in terms of getting the arena recreation for for putting great weather and so that is good. We'd like to see that later.
Okay, Kendall, did you have something?
Yes, your worship. I just would ask if you're going to, when you're speaking, you can speak up because I can't hear you, Richard, and it kind of warbles. But that's not why I wanted to say something. I guess I want to ask administration: does this at all bind us to making this project happen? Should the money or some money come in?
I would say yes to that. Moving forward right now, we're looking projects of $7.4 million. So out of that, we have within reserves and donations from support of local village campaign somewhere in around the $2.5 million. So we're actually looking for an application process somewhere in the 5.3, 5.4, and being the way that the fund is set up, that is 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So if the funding does come in, we would be on the hook to move forward with that $2.5, $2.6 million.
My next question, Paul, would be: Can the project be completed by next year?
Yes, yeah. I've spoken to our project managers at the AOBDC, and confirmed with them that we were still on
Okay,
Okay. Okay, thank you. Anything else? Is there nothing? All in favor? Okay, thank you. And a motion to file administration report. Councilor Hewitt?
I will make a motion to file administration report for the month of October 2011.
Second to that? Councilor Jones? Is there any further questions there? Okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you. Moving down to mayor and council report. And we'll start with mayors. And I'm going to start, first of all, before I start with my spiel, because I didn't really speak about it in here, but I thought that I would like to just give I guess a shout out to Terry from Suzette, who has, ever since I've been sitting in this chair, he has kind of covered our meetings. He's also done a lot of reporting on the stories that take place in our community. And he's probably interviewed every one of us in this room. Terry, we really appreciate your professionalism and your integrity. It shows that the work that you've done and your paper have shown how important a small town paper is, number one. And I just wanted to say thank you. Okay, I have my report in front of you. I do have I'm going to actually make a couple presentations here through the report. I'm going to start with some preamble. And I'm going to start with Councillor Kendall Schramm. Councillor Kendall Schramm was first elected in a by-election in 2005. He ran in the 2006 regular election and was successful. Councillor Schramm has served the city of Warman for 15 years on council. He has prided himself with looking at creative ways or looking outside the box around the decision-making table. One of Councillor Schramm's constant pushes was for safe bike lanes connecting the two fastest growing communities in our area. The Tri-Community Paving Project between Martinsville, Cormorant Park, and Warman on Range Road 381 is one big step towards that goal. And that was a tough decision for this council, but we pushed it and we made it work for us. And I think we should be proud. I have worked with Kendall for most of my municipal career. I remember when I was first elected 20 years ago, youth activities was a priority for me. We were looking for partners to help bring a youth center to Warman. My first time meeting Kendall was during this time. He was fairly new to Warman as well and represented his church on the Warman Ministerial Committee. Do you remember me coming to that meeting, Kendall?
yes, I do.
The idea of a youth center wasn't totally popular back then. Can you guys believe that? But Councillor Schramm showed support. He embraced the idea and he got involved right from the start. This was the beginning of almost 2 decades of working together. So I've seen time and time again Councillor Schramm's dedication, determination, and the care he has for his community. We are so thankful for the work that you have done all these years, Kendall. You will be missed, and I know that you won't totally rest until that bike lane, those bike lanes. So I'm sure that you're going to be nagging the new council and the council after that if it takes that long. All the best to you, Councillor Schramm. I know that this is going to give you more time with your family, and I'm sure the next phase of your life will be as interesting as this one was. So congratulations on your choice, I guess, to take a step back and spend more time with your family. Councillor Brian Jones was elected to City Council in 2016. His connection with business and Warman sports community resulted in fresh insights to the discussions that have taken place around Warman City Council's table. Councillor Jones has offered balanced perspectives on everything from finances and budget to regular updates from the Legends Golf Club. I've enjoyed working with and getting to know Councillor Jones, and I know how busy this role on council, raising his young family, his volunteerism around the community, and his ginormous responsibilities he has at his workplace has led him to the decision not to run in this election. I hope, once life slows down a little bit for you, that we may see your talents back around this table. You will also be missed. We wish you, Brian, all the best as you continue with your professional and your personal aspirations. I know we'll see you all the time. If you go to Legends anyway. We know the time commitment to serve on council is not light. It's pretty heavy at times. The responsibilities are many, and this year has brought new challenges. We would like to thank both Councillor Schramm and Councillor Jones for serving their community, and on behalf of the City of Warman, council, staff, and the residents, we have a small token of appreciation. Can you please join me in a round of applause for these two? Councillor Jones and Councillor Schramm, you're going to have to come and get yours. Now I have some comments that I want to make on my own. Here we are, October 26th, my 41st wedding anniversary and my 20th year on Warman City Council and my last council meeting. To give that amount of time some perspective, when I was first elected to council in 2000, the town of Warman had approximately 3,000 residents. Average earnings of our residents was around 35,000, and the town employed under 20 employees. And I know this to be true because we had done a couple of things for them, and we used to buy them individual gifts, so I knew. Our community stretched from Hanson's RV in the south to Wilkin Crescent in the north, from 8th Avenue in the east to 1st Avenue in the west. So if you can imagine how that looks, what it looks like now. With 3 main parks, Lions, Diamond, and on the north side of town, the Prairie Oasis on the south side of Warman. Our business core was centered along Central Street with businesses such as Pioneer Steakhouse, and probably none of you in this room, except for maybe my husband, remembers Pioneer Steakhouse.
I do.
Oh, good for you. Weber's, Warman Pharmacy, there was many businesses along that street that are no longer there. They lined Warman's commercial hub because Central was our commercial hub. Our fire hall, town office, and recreation department were all located in the same building. You were in that building for a time, were you not? Yes, you were. That building was cramped. We had our council chambers in that building too. We had 2 schools, Warman High School and Warman Elementary School. Evenings in these schools were busy with community programs. They were also community hubs, and that's hard for us to imagine today because we have the arenas that have kind of become our community hubs. But back then, it was totally different because we didn't have very much space. Those schools were very much community hubs, just like the arenas. So much has changed since then. We now have over 12,000 residents who average a median household income of approximately $110,000 per year. We have over 65 employees, which balloons upwards in the summer. Our boundaries have changed considerably with miles of residential growth in every direction. Our parks and green space have grown to 22 beautiful outdoor spaces that are used more than ever for the young demographics that live here in our community. And we know even from the beaches sitting in our gallery, Chris, he had done a lot of cross-country skiing in the community as well, and would probably call to task if they weren't kept up. Our business core has changed drastically. It stretches from south, north, and west. New businesses investing in our community is a common occurrence in which we are all very happy about. We have seen educational opportunities grow to include 5 schools, and I can remember how much we had to lobby to get that 3rd school. And then the 4th and 5th just kind of landed on our doorstep. It was so nice. We also have a thriving college in Great Plains. What a journey this last 20 years has been. I have worked with 4 CAOs. I actually thought it was more, but no, just 4. Numerous managers, staff members, 16 different counselors, and many community volunteers, business partners, members of parliament, members of legislatures, mayors, reeves, councillors from around our province and also from around Canada. So many interesting and engaging folks have been a part of my municipal journey. The support I have received over the course of my time on council has been surely a driving force for me. Without the support from my family, friends, Warman staff, fellow councillors and community, I would not have had the positive experience that I have had. And I have to say, it has been a very positive experience for me. And that's not the norm. When I talk to my colleagues around the province and they tell me about their situation, I'm always surprised because it's just not the experience that I had and had for 20 years. Saying goodbye to all of this is bittersweet. I will enjoy the time now with the little people in my life who are very eagerly waiting for me to have more time for them. But I will miss very much the interactions of so many I have come to enjoy for so many years. Warman will be in good hands as Mayor-elect Philipchuk will bring so much experience and talent to the role as mayor. He has been by my side for almost all my years on council. All the best to the incumbents and the new candidates running in this election. I know these are nail-biting days, and we're all wondering who that new team is going to be. And I don't know if I can stand any more signs in the size, how big they're getting. But my husband tells me I was the one that started that 20 years ago. A couple weeks from now, we will know who is going to be a part of that next journey. I leave this role knowing our mutual respect for each other has developed into something more than just work colleagues. Friendships that will remain long after I walk out that door. So thank you all again, every one of you. It's been a while. It is quoted. Every story is a story. Every life is a story. Thank you for being a part of mine. Thank you.
I have a few words too, and this is on behalf of all community members. And this is looking a lot different than we thought it would look a year ago. Now, we know how things we've had to adapt and make changes and everything else. But on behalf of all community members, city employees, and the elected officials, I want to thank you for what you have done and wish you a happy anniversary and being here tonight. In your report, you do a fabulous job of talking about the double population, you know, from the Tim Hortons to 3,000 to 6,000 to 12,000. That's amazing. I met Cheryl in 1999 while she was the preschool teacher for my son Jaden after we moved to Warman. I would get to know her true love and passion for Warman over the 17 years working together as the elected official. It brings tear to my eye when I see her strength of listening to everyone with emphasis on seniors and youth. I got a chance to see her worship at her best while visiting our local care home. There's so much love and admiration for those that laid the groundwork for our city and those that just needed someone to talk to. And I saw it true in your heart. Think back to the many highlights, but I will scratch the surface with the top 5 that come to mind. One, the big picture one, thinking by being the first community in the area to have a planner. How big that was. We continue to see the benefits of a well-planned city. And now dealing with HR was our next one that we just dealt with. Also finding ways to encourage and nurture growth. We could talk hours about this, all the different things. We never wanted to stifle it in any ways. We were looking for ways to make Warman a place to invest for residents and for businesses. Prairie Oasis, we have to mention that because it's a gem right now. And it really was to balance recreation in our city. We were seeing so much go north and we said, how can we balance this out? And again, it was one of those things that you saw and you just let us move with it. The golf course vision, facilitating this great vision for our city. Again, that's something that we will forever be proud of our city for the hard work to get that 9-hole golf course going and all the volunteer work to seeing how we could transform and with a partnership to see how both sides of that game now to see our city blossom. And of course, I have to mention the Legend Center. You know, we believe and we have seen that if we build it, they will come. We moved forward on a project that was community initiated, that Mayor Spence and families donated towards and ultimately saw through that this is really the heartbeat of our community. There are so many other things that I can mention from a local, provincial, or federal level. I want to assure you that we have time when this pandemic is over, that we will give the community a chance to thank you in a way that we should, by all coming together. She's allowed all of us to accelerate in areas that we want to lead and areas that we really want to have a passion, lead, and go with different types of projects. Thank you to a friend, mentor, colleague, I've had the pleasure to work with for so many years. All the best, and you have earned it. And I look forward to the chats in the future. We have a small gift with from our local artist, Ray Keeley, and token of our appreciation. Well, I'm not sure how to do this. First of all, I didn't know I'd be able to read without glasses on too. So, so I will just set it there to you.
And I will look at it after
Yes.
our meeting. And I would really like to be able to shake your hands and give you a hug, but we all know that we can't do that.
We got one more.
Oh, my goodness. So, oh my goodness, you guys, thank you so much. Oh. I don't even know what to say. So I'm not going to even say anything. Because,
Well, you said it already.
yeah,
You-
yeah.
Those are
I
great
just
words.
want to say thank you and feel those virtual hugs, each one of you. Everybody in this room, actually. You don't need to be just because you guys have been supporters too.
I would like to add my story. And Johnny, I'm very proud that you made such an effort in getting the region recognized and putting that memorial over to the legends. That was close by, and it's much appreciated, well organized. And nobody comes up to me and says, you mean you didn't go to the, you know, the big one that they had to do? Yeah. And I'll say, oh, we have our one.
Oh, thank you. We're very lucky to have such a passionate group that does organize our Remembrance Day. I don't know what it's going to look like this year, but we know there'll be years ahead where hopefully it'll go back to some sort of normalcy for that. So thank you so much, Ally. Okay, with that, is there any other questions in my report? Oh, no. Okay, so I guess if I can have a motion to file. A motion to file it. Oh, Councilor Keeley?
I'll make the motion to file the mayor's report for Monday, October 26th, 2020, as presented.
And a seconder, Councilor Peterson. All in favor? Okay, thank you. And we'll go to council roundtable. And why don't we start with Kendall?
Well, thank you, Your Worship. And thank you so much for the gift. It is humbling, and I didn't expect anything like that. I have a few words, if I may take a moment. My fellow councillors, Her Worship, city staff, the day has arrived. My last council meeting. This is not how I thought my time in municipal life would end. I spent long hours and with this decision, and I know that it's just for a season. And hopefully one day should I win another election or go into that, I would hope to be back at the table. And so I'm at peace with this season, but this decision hasn't come without sorrow. Being a part of leading a great community, the big decisions that have been made, the friends I've made around this table, and the working together with a tremendous staff. As Her Worship has stated in her report, it started 15 years ago through a by-election for one term due to the passing of a leader in our community, Ron Gidlick. Remembering who you follow helps keep my perspective of the work we do. It has a life that went before me and will continue long after me. What is important in all this is that I give my best for right now. I personally think that being a councillor here in Warman has a very interesting dynamic, not to belittle a mayor position because we've had great ones. However, we've had mayors with the luxury of giving more time to their job than they get paid for. And that's lucky for Warman. As for us councillors, we have had one foot in the political world and one foot in our everyday employment world. And depending on your stage of life, it can be pretty tricky giving the time necessary for the job. My only thought for the future, council, is to seek to understand others before trying to be understood to others. In this time of leadership, I like what John Maxwell said about leadership. The pessimist complains about the wind. The optimist expects it to change. The leader adjusts the sails. It's not about the view of the wind, but adjusting the sails to move forward. Thank you, Your Worship, Cheryl Spence, for being a mentor for 15 years. I've seen you listen to people. You've listened to myself even before I came on council when there were situations that needed attention and you gave of your time, even before the youth center. And I really appreciate that. One phrase that always comes to mind is, there is no stupid question. And you always reminded me of that in my first year and years later in council. Thank you, Gary, for the consistent counsel regarding roles of council and staff. I get it now. It took 15 years, but I get it. I appreciate the friendship. I appreciate the ability to come together and to work on things, even though at times we have maybe looked at things a little different. It has always been a synergy to work with you, not against you. Thank you, Trevor, for the heart of champion. You always were willing to listen to others and represent the best option of going forward. And I thank you for that. Thank you, Kevin, for your wisdom, your engagement, your purpose. You have used them successfully over the years, and I appreciate that about you. Thank you, Brian. 4 years ago, I wondered about who you are and what you would bring to the table. I have been impressed. The depth of wisdom and experience has been invaluable to our meetings and decisions. Thank you, Richard. I wish I could be like you. The dedication and intention you bring to every meeting amazes me. You can always count on Richard's A game for every meeting. He always asks a good question that keeps us on track, and you have my utmost respect. Thank you, Bob, for being an influential manager, creating a culture in this office that's the best I've seen in my years here on City Council. Thank you, Don, for your service and your desire to make things better and to work outside the box. And I think you meant that phrase, work outside the box, is important to me. I also appreciate working with Brad, and the years I was beginning to wonder my first few years whether a planner would even stay in our town, because in my first few years they were being hired and leaving at a very fast rate. But Brad, you have stuck through, and I think this city is better because of that. I don't know who else is in the gallery, but I appreciate you too. I don't see you, but I just know who was going to be around the table. So we've had our differences, but I firmly respect each and every one that has put time and effort and has worked so diligently and hard for this city. We can be thankful and we can be proud. So much could be said. 15 years is a good length of time. There are a few highlights for me. One is going digital with iPads. I can still remember Sharon Martin's having difficulty with that. And, but we were able to go digital. We got rid of the reams of paper that were so much at times, but you can be thankful that you don't have to do that now. And if you don't like your iPad, oh, that's too bad. The branding of the city was important to me, and I still think it is. And we've come a long ways, and it still is something that should be always on our minds, because we are a progressive and great city that has something to attract everyone. I am thankful to be a part of the Legends Center decision. It was a huge decision for me because of the debt load, but it was the best thing possible for our community, and I'm thankful for it. I am very thankful for the good selection of doctors we have here. I was part of that new committee that has an old name, PPRC or what, and bringing all the doctors that we have now, a good selection. And it wasn't so years back, but we did a lot of lobbying, and we were able to find some ways of really getting some good doctors here to stay in our community. The funding for our wastewater system, the P4G, is a feather in our cap. The environmental master plan, becoming a city from a town, all of those things are so monumental, and they wouldn't have been so if it wasn't the leadership that we had at the top. And thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Gary, and the rest of you. I want to thank my family. They have put up with me being able to hunker down in my office and go through my reams of paper before and online, and all the different things that I've had to do for City Council. I appreciate their sacrifice. The questions of why I'm doing what I'm doing is I really feel that it is important at this juncture for me to spend some time leading my congregation, and also showing some leadership for the food bank. I will give my report next about the food bank, but it is really crucial that that continue. And due to the fact that a lot of churches are suffering now, that funding for church support could be in jeopardy. And I think I needed to kind of help bring that back into line, and hopefully my fellow ministers will join me and we'll be able to see continued support financially for the food bank. I'm not sure if I'm missing anything or anybody, but I truly am grateful for these 15 years. And I'm not done. I'm still got this community in my heart, and I always will. And so I thank you for being a part of that, being a part of the friendships that will continue even after, and the memories of what we've done and where we will go. And that's all I have to say for that, Your Worship.
Thank you, Kendall. Okay.
Sorry, I do have one little thing. I do have a little bit of a report, because I promised I would for the food bank. If you do we have time for that, Your Worship?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Just let me bring it up here on my computer. can hear the laughing.
Sorry.
Gary. It's Gary's fault, yes. Am I making noises? Like, I don't.
No, no.
Okay. The bank balance for the food bank is presently, as of October the 22nd, $25,043.93. Donations received from residents has been $9,498.43. Donations from Warman clubs and businesses is just shy of $1,500. Donation from Warman churches is $7,302.01. Donation from the firefighters has been $1,000. Donation from Affinity Community Funds and Casual Day was about $1,400. Donation from schools is just over $1,000, and from Food Banks of Saskatchewan, $1,000. So the total received in 2020 was $22,672. I will send this report to Dawn so you may not need to write all this down. The number of families that we helped in 2020 was 34 families, which equals to 112 people. The total amount of cards that we have spent for 2020 up to now is $12,000, just over $12,000. We have a food pantry at the Awakening Church, and that's been used 23 times. As for Christmas costs, usually they are around $1,500. Sorry, not $1,500, $15,000. And this year we will be, I think we're in a good position to help people at Christmas time. And so we probably will do the gift card hampers and save the food donations to use in the new year for the pantries that we have, and I think maybe another church has, but I'm not sure of that. Do you have any questions?
Anybody have questions? No questions.
Wow, I was that good. So I think that sometimes the one question is, how is this different from last year? And the number of people that we've helped was 44 during the year at 128 people. There has been a significant jump in what we've from last year to this year. And so it's extremely vital to understand that this is something that is a very much a need in our community. And it's somewhat hard to define because our poor isn't in a certain place in the city. They are people like you and me. And sometimes that is extremely difficult because we question whether they are or they aren't. And I want to remind you, no one really likes to be on the receiving end. They would like to work and contribute. And so I hope that as a city, we will continue to, remember those that are struggling, and especially in this time of COVID. I guess I end with this, is in bringing the church thing, is that there has been a survey that by the end of the year, 40% of churches will close. And so that is heavy on my heart because it's churches do play a part in community, and we're not weird people that vote for President Trump. What I'm trying to say is I think sometimes we've been made to look like that. And I guess I want to stress to council is we do have a part to play, and we're not way out there. We do want to make an impact and look after those that are in need. And as we walk through this COVID time, if we can help in any way, please don't hesitate to call. With that, Your Worship, that is all I have to report.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Schramm. Okay, moving on to Councillor Jones.
I did attend the Legends Fall AGM on October 22nd, held virtually. Again, shared here a couple times, very successful year. Quite amazing when you think of March, you know, sitting around that same table, and everyone was really, really concerned on where that golf club was going to be this time of year, and nobody would have predicted it would be one of the best, if not the best year they've had since that Legends opened. So they're in a very good position financially, cash-wise. You know, a couple really neat things that have really allowed them to manage their business, one being water agreement. So, you know, Bob was very involved in helping us with that, to negotiate that. So that's a big deal for them to have that security of water. But also through the PKH and them given the ability to pay that loan back over $25,000 increments as opposed to 100 again, and we provided them a bunch of freedom to manage their business there. So I just think what a wonderful story that's been, and I really think that is a testament to the really strong board they have there and the culture that they have on having very committed people, and to the management that they have running that golf course right now. You know, you can look at the results or you can look at the golf course, and both are outstanding. And you know, again, some of the comments here earlier about you know, what a jewel that is for the community, and it truly is. And it's, you know, I think around this table we can all be very, very proud and confident it's being well taken care of on behalf of the community. So I just think that's a great news story over there. And then the rest of it, which some very, very kind words for everybody around the table, and for those of you who said nice things, thank you very much. I often get asked, you know, why is that something you wanted to do? And, you know, originally I used to come to town meetings and sit back there and watch, because I always thought that might be something I'd be interested in, trying to be a part of a community like this. And you know, the one thing I'll say that it's a lot different in a really good way from what I thought it would be. I mean, I think all of us have watched enough shows about politics, and we all can read the negative stuff in the newspaper, and it's this, I couldn't talk enough about what a positive experience it has been for me to be a part of a team, like truly a team that I've never once felt like anyone was angling for something that wasn't for the betterment of the entire community, or there wasn't an agreement. You know, we've often had some called short discussions, and where people were a little bit more emotional about things, but I've never ever felt anyone's felt that it's been personal. It's always been, again, for the betterment of the community. And Cheryl, that speaks a lot to the leadership that you've provided this table. That when you look at how meetings are conducted and the work that gets done, people are focused on the community and on making sure that we're taking care of the community. So I couldn't be more proud to have been part of a group like this, and I mean that from the administration and through all of council. You know, there's a long list of things in my short time that was here that, you know, you read it and you think, holy crap, we got a lot of stuff done, right? Like when you first wrote that list, I remember the first couple of weeks you weren't here, you're at FCM, and you're out doing our planning for the 4 years, and a lot of that list came, and you kind of thought, holy smokes, like that's a lot to chew through, but you know, we did. And big piece goes to the city admin people who just kept the ball moving. I'm always amazed at how quickly you guys get information and turn it around into reports for council. And I'm always amazed at the courage of the table of, you know, to make decisions and move forward on things. And that's been extremely rewarding for myself. And I've heard the words here, grateful. I just want to say that I was grateful that I was accepted into the table. I was the new guy, but every effort was made to help me be a contributing member of the table. And yeah, I don't know enough to think more people should look at things like this, because it's very much a positive experience, and we're very, very blessed to be a part of it, to get to be in a position like this to help. thank you for having me.
Thank you. We didn't have you, you were elected. Right?
Yeah, you told me.
Okay, Councilor Beck.
Well, I think we start off the business here with this year with the municipalities of Saskatchewan. We have the regional meeting set for the upcoming council, let's say after being sworn in, for December 1st, 2020. This will be a virtual conference, and this year, so it's going to look quite a bit different from years past, but that date is set. And so this year, it's going to be a morning portion, we'll break for lunch, and then that'll come again certainly for the afternoon. So certainly mark that date down. So this year, City Clerk, if you could pass that along to the returning council, that'd be fantastic. I do want to recognize that this past weekend we did have the household hazardous waste. This year I've been told that it certainly through the Friday file that this has been a very successful day, and that a report will be coming forth to a council meeting with some details on it. So certainly thank you to the staff for certainly filling those roles. With this year, I know in the Friday file there, Bob had certainly mentioned the staff and their spouses that it certainly helped out. So my thanks to each one of you for the work that you've done, and to the commitment for for taking the place of council that certainly couldn't attend. So thank you very much for that. And I'd certainly like to wrap up by saying goodbye to members of council here. Cheryl, you have been a leader that has set the pace and set the tone. Certainly for myself, I have definitely appreciated that. Thank you very much for that. Certainly Kendall, there again, I'm really glad that in your speech there, you certainly mentioned branding, because I'm going to say that if there's one thing that stood out from the 11 years that served with you here on council, is that dedication to branding being that foremost thing that you really paid attention to, and that really certainly had a very large impression on you. And Brian, there again, details, certainly like your expertise, your financial background, and commitment there to asset management, I've certainly appreciated it also. So certainly this year, I definitely recognize that with the three of you leading the table, that represents almost 4 decades of experience. And that's knowledge that just can't be replaced overnight. So thank you for your service.
Thank you, Richard. Councilor Toomey.
Thank you. Just a couple of little things. I want to say thank you to the Prairie Sky Chamber of Commerce for hosting the candidate forum that you put on this past week on Tuesday. Also want to say, just looking forward to the Winbaxa Awards, where they're actually going to be recognizing the business community, coming up here on Thursday evening. And I know Councillor Beck just mentioned this, but yeah, we are going to be seeing 39 years worth of experience leaving this council table, for sure, with this election. And just in my time on council over the last 8 years, I'm amazed at the changes I've seen in this community. And just the growth in Warman, the growth in the business community, and the growth in the population. When I look at the pictures in Mayor Spence's report here, I'm also amazed at the changes in Councillor Philipchuk's hair. As well as my facial hair. There's been a lot of changes that have happened with that over the years. And it's come and gone. And apparently, Mayor Spence, you mentioned I had some changes in my hairstyle tonight. Thank you for noticing. Nobody else has noticed that. So, thank you. Cheryl, I just want to say thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your mentorship. And thank you for your friendship. It's been great working with you. And I'm gonna miss having you at the table. Kendall, thank you as well for your friendship. Thank you for the passion that you brought to the table. And thank you for the laughs that you and I have had over the last few years. I know I tend to make fun of you every once in a while. Even this evening, there was a little bit of a sermon feel to some of the words that you have. And I do appreciate that. And I'm probably always going to make fun of that when I get a chance to. Brian, you just came to the table 4 years ago, and I was impressed with just how you hit the ground running and the approach that you brought to the table and how quickly you became one of the wise voices around the table. And I really appreciate that. And that's really all I have for comments.
Thank you, Kevin. Councillor Peterson.
Okay, well, I attended through Zoom the library meeting this last week. Given that they have a new applicant coming forward for one of the two positions that they hope to have out at the next meeting, and then from there they're hoping to put that forward to the next council. I think things are looking, up for the library considering what's happened this year. So they're a really good board. I was happy to be part of it for the last 2 years. Cheryl, I made some mistakes early on in my career, and you couldn't have let me hang, metaphorically, but you didn't. Took me under your wing, and you mentored me, and I'm a far different counselor than I was when I started. Kendall, you had to suffer with sitting on the same side of the table with me for I think the entire 8 years. I enjoyed, some laughs with you. I enjoyed your wisdom. I enjoyed hearing the passion that you had. And sometimes you were a stickler for how things, the decorum of how things are supposed to run, but that's important. And I thank you for that. Brian, 4 years ago, I was really impressed with how from your first day, your first meeting you were at, you seemed like you had been here for ages. You fit right in. It seemed like, you were meant to be part of the people. I'm sad for all three of you.
Thank you, Trevor.
Thank you, Trevor.
Just a couple of quick comments. I look forward to going for coffee, drinks with all the people leaving. I had a couple comments with about Kendall and Brian last time, and today about Mayor Spence. I know there's some videos, some other people want to say some words, so I'll pass it on to somebody else here. So thank you. Good luck to everybody, and
Hello, Your Worship. I am sending you this message from Ottawa. I have had the privilege of knowing you for the past 31 years and following your illustrious career over the last 2 decades, both as a councillor and mayor for the beautiful municipality of Warman. You have.
I'm gonna redo that. Give me a. No, you're supposed to give me a bit more time.
Hello, Your Worship. I am sending you this.
Sorry, one more time. I had it going. I even practiced it this afternoon. I'm glad we did it now. Is that just Kendall there?
I'm here.
Hi, Kendall. And share. Yeah. Okay. God.
Hello, Your Worship. I am sending you this message from Ottawa. I have had the privilege of knowing you for the past 31 years and following your illustrious career over the last 2 decades, both as a councillor and mayor for the beautiful municipality of Warman. You had the very real task of leading your community as it transitioned from a town to a city and now the fastest growing municipality in Canada. Well done and congratulations, Cheryl. I wish you all the best in your retirement.
Hi, Cheryl. Thanks so much for having me with you today, even though it's virtually. I wanted to offer my sincere congratulations on your upcoming retirement. I know that you had started as mayor shortly before I started as MLA, and we are leaving at the same time. And I wanted to let you know how much of a joy it was to work with you. Your dedication to your community and your residents is outstanding. Your approach to regional cooperation, along with the other communities that are in the area, is a testament to how things can get done the right way. I know that you have also been a huge proponent of women in leadership roles, and thank you for including me on some of those projects. It was a great experience. So as you prepare to leave, I know that you have time planned with your family and your grandchildren. I want to thank you again for the time that you have served the people of Warman, and I hope that you find joy and peace and relaxation in the days to come. Thank you again so much for all that you have done. And I've appreciated our friendship and our working relationship. So congratulations. Have a great evening.
Good day, I'm Randy Golden, Councillor for the City of Yorkton and Saskatchewan Director on the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. It's been my absolute pleasure to get to work and know Mayor Spence these last years. She has incredible understanding of the people and the businesses in her municipality. She's inclusive and she's genuine, and always with the goal of building better lives for everyone in her community. I've seen the impact that she's had locally, provincially, and federally. She's chaired the FCM committees for community safety and crime prevention, election readiness, and increasing women participation in municipal politics. And in that last committee, her leadership has been exceptional as we grow more women in politics across Canada. She served on the municipalities of Saskatchewan City Caucus, using her knowledge and experience to advocate for all our cities in the province. When I think about Cheryl's work, I think about lines from my favorite writer, Ralph Waldo Emerson. The last few lines in this poem of his, the closing lines, and I quote, "To know even one life breathed easier because you have lived and worked, that is to have succeeded." Cheryl, you've succeeded in your role as working in the public service. It is indeed a pleasure to call you a friend, and I wish for you and your family the very best in future endeavors. Cheryl, a big virtual hug to you.
Basketball, easier. Oh, goodness. Sorry, Paul, I think I can use it here.
Designer.
Okay, well, let's move down to correspondence. So we have in front of us a letter from CN. Do we have a motion to file it? Councillor Thule?
I'll make a motion to file a letter from CN and there's a video release for 2021. Will receive by council on October 2020 and filed as per.
A seconder for that? Councillor Beck, is there any questions? Okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you. Motion for our accounts. Councillor Beck?
Thank you, request. I would like to approve or make a motion to approve city counts as presented by checks number 23853, 23944 for the total amount $721,184.21. And the payroll vouchers number 11293 to 11356 to the amount of $91,585.27 for October 26th, 2020.
Okay, do we have a second? Councillor Peterson, and And any questions? Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, that brings us to our adjournment of my very last meeting. Councillor Jones, your last adjournment.
All right. I'll make the motion to adjourn the October 26th, 2020 regular meeting.
The seconder, Councillor Toohey. Are we all in favor? Thank you. We stand adjourned. Thank you. That's great. Oh, look.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Sure.